Hey, fourth grade. Hope everybody is doing well. There I am. So yesterday we read, what did we read yesterday? Yesterday we read about Pecos Bill. And today in your shared reading lesson with your teacher, either in class or on the computer on Zoom, you read about Paul Bunyan. And so you learned about Paul Bunyan and the tallest tree. And so today we're going to do another written response, and it's a little bit different because our question isn't coming directly from the text. It's coming from the illustration. So let's go ahead. Let me switch my screen. And so we can review what my question is. And so today, my, I guess, text-dependent question is, how does the illustration help you understand the height of the bull and the tree that Paul is cutting? So that's my question today. And so going off of what we talked about yesterday and what we worked on in third grade, the first thing I have to do is I have to restate or reword the question. And yesterday I said, the first thing I want you to try to do when you're restating or rewording is just to cross off those question words. So I'm crossing off how does, because those are my question words. And let's see if I can restate. The illustration helps you understand the height of the bull and the tree Paul is cutting. Okay, so that's a pretty good restatement. It makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and make that my first sentence. I'm going to use that as my restate. So I'm going to indent. I'm going to start off with a capital letter. The illustration, because remember, the purpose of the illustrations is to help the reader better understand the text. The illustration helps, and I might say me instead of you, helps me understand. Rach, I'm recording. The height of the bull and the tree Paul is cutting. So I'm just making a statement. I'm restating the question because the illustration does help me understand that. Tree Paul is cutting. Now, the next thing I have to do is answer how, right? Because I'm answering the question. And remember, the question was, how does it help? So, well, let's look at the illustration. When I'm looking at this illustration, how does this illustration help me understand the height, which is how tall, the height of the bull, and the tree that Paul is cutting? Well, when I'm looking at this illustration, I'm noticing a lot of things. I'm noticing that the bull is taller than all of the other trees. I'm noticing that the tree is taller than all the other trees. I'm noticing that the bull is almost as tall as Paul. I'm noticing that the bull is almost as tall as the mountain. And so I think that that would be probably be my answer, that the bull is taller than the other trees, that the bull is almost as tall as Paul. And I'm noticing that this tree is taller than Paul and the bull, and this tree is also taller than the other trees. So I need to kind of think about that and put that into my one sentence answer. So I might say, let's see, I'm going to start with the bull. The bull, or you know what? The illustration, I think I'm going to start because it's not really asking me about the bull, it's asking me how the illustration helps me. So the illustration shows, that the bull is taller than the other trees and almost as tall as Paul. But that's not a complete answer because that only tells me the height of the bull. Now I have to talk about the tree that Paul is cutting. And remember, we said that that tree is taller than anything else in the forest. And it's certainly taller than Paul and the bull. The illustration also shows that the tree Paul is cutting is the tallest, or is taller, I like is taller better, is taller than anything else in the forest, including Paul and the bull. Paul and the bull. Okay, so I restated my answer. I answered all parts, and I think that's the key that we have to remember here. There was 2 parts to this question. There's no evidence to cite because the text is not the question has not asked me to go into the text. It's asked me to look at the illustration, which I've done. Explain the importance of the answer or the evidence. Well, why is this important? And again, when we're looking at that chart, I'm just going to put this is important. This is important because it helps me as a reader to understand how significant this is to the story, right? And I noticed that it kind of helps me connect the pieces together. It connects to the title, it connects to the words, and it gives me that visual representation. It shows me what the text is saying about how truly tall the bull and the tree are in relationship to everything else. So it really, it helps me to understand that. So this is important because I know it's kind of a big word. It might not be a 4th grade word, but it visualizes. That means it shows us. It visualizes how tall Paul and the tree really are. Really. Okay. I stated, I answered. I didn't have to cite, but I did refer to my text. I referred to the illustration. I explained the importance. And the last thing I have to do is read through it for spelling and conventions. And remember, all of my sentences should be capitalized. All of my sentences should end with punctuation. And all of the words from my question or my text should be spelled correctly. So let's read through it one more time. The illustration helps me understand the height of the bull and the tree Paul is cutting. The illustration shows that the bull is taller than the other trees and almost as tall as Paul. The illustration also shows that the tree Paul is cutting is taller than anything else in the forest, including Paul and the bull. This is important because it visualizes how tall Paul and the tree really are. Okay, so I've capitalized, punctuated. I feel comfortable that I've used my the right spelling. And so this is a complete written response. Now it's your turn to go use what I've modeled for you and to practice your own written response. And I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow.